Hello, everyone, and I welcome you all wherever you are watching from, whether it's live or whether you're watching the recording. I welcome all of you on this weekly podcast that we have with our special guest. And today, our guest is extremely special, a very, very good friend of mine. But before I go ahead and introduce her to you, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you have any feedback, if you have any questions about our guest while watching this live or whether you're watching the recording, please feel free to post that in the comments. This will be going live on LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as on Facebook. So you are more than welcome to post your comments, your questions, your feedback, because that's what we are really looking forward to. And a quick word about myself. So, my name is Adil Rizvi, and I help people create high performance property portfolios without sacrificing their lifestyle and without sacrificing their cash flow. That is all about me for today. It's all about our guest, a very special person, Miss Cheryl Leong. Hi, Cheryl. How are you?
Amazing, Adil. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute honor, and I love that I've been able to see your journey, and I love that just with what you're doing. High performing property portfolios is absolutely spot on in what it is that you're doing. So let's talk about how we can help other businesses be able that are doing great things, and that's what I do. It's like, how do I help business owners be able to create these really optimize their operations and their back end so that they can do more and impact more, because there are people like you that are doing amazing things but often sort of held back because they've hit a ceiling, or they've got so many challenges and they're working too much. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to talk about: how to scale businesses without going bonkers, and how to leverage systems and superstars as well.
I love that without going bonkers. Yes, definitely. That's what we are going to talk about today, Cheryl. And I have no hesitancy in admitting that what you just mentioned, Cheryl, you have been a big part of my journey as well. Because my very first, I started solo in my business 4 years ago, as most of the people know. And when I first started as a solopreneur, getting lost in things and getting lost under the workload. And my very first employee at the time, when I decided that I should have an employee, actually came from Growth Hub, actually came from your company. And I can't be more thankful enough for that, because that first employee actually started my journey of scaling my business. And now I have a team, I have people who are working for me based in different parts of the country. But when I look back at the start, it actually started from that first employee, that first virtual assistant that I got from Growth Hub. So I'm really thankful to you, Cheryl, for that.
Thank you, Adil. And it's the trust, and this is what we're going to talk about, and I would like to be able to share. It's like, when is the best time to bring someone on board, and who's the person that should come on board, but also what is the back end stuff that we need to also prepare for, because there was some,
Yep.
we did quite a bit of systems and process type work with you as well before you brought on your team members. So let's dive into it. I mean, from your end, I'd like to hear what sort of the questions that you have as a business owner, because I'm sure a lot of other business owners are here scratching their heads at the
Yep.
same question. So you go ahead, shoot across your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them.
So for today's interview, I've just kept it very simple. What I've done, Cheryl, is that whatever my journey was, whatever my apprehensions were when I first started in the business, and I wanted to scale the business up to have more revenue, and while having more revenue, to still have more time for myself, not working into the business for 18 hours a day kind of thing.
Mm,
So I had those apprehensions, those aspirations as well that go hand in hand. But I would just like to put them forward across to you as questions, because that is what I was feeling at the time, and now
mm,
I know what I've been able to achieve through the right help, of which you are a big part of. So, as newbie business owners or people who are in the business for the first 1 year or 2 years, or potentially even for the first 6 months, and now they think they need to scale, I mean, how would they know that they probably need help? First of all, What
Yeah,
when would the business know that they need some kind of help, some extra pair of hands?
great question. To be honest, at the very, very beginning is probably when most businesses need some sort of help. But what is that help is what really it depends on where the business is at. So different businesses, as you know, you've got startup, and then you've got sort of, if you think about it almost as a life cycle of a business, you've got sort of your startup, and then you've got sort of toddler phase where you're like, you're still a little bit wobbly, but you've got some sort of leads and clientele. You're starting to learn about what it is that your business is, but it's still quite experimental. So think of it like a toddler. Then you get to sort of teenage phase where you're like, oh, great, I really have some sort of idea of what business is about, but still, there's still a lot to learn, right? So as you can see, the whole life cycle there as you go to adulthood and all of that, you never stop learning. However, in terms of when from the very, very beginning, say if you're a startup or you're a toddler phase, to be honest, as you start to really understand how your business operates, one of the first things you want to look at, because at the very, very beginning, 80% of your time should be when you don't have a lot of clients and you've got a lot of time. So I always weigh it up as time versus um, leads or clients. Right. So if you've got a lot of time,
So, sorry, just one thing over here, Cheryl. If you don't mind, just maybe coming a bit closer and be a bit louder. I think that will really be helpful.
I've got
Sorry,
my,
please continue.
yeah. So I said um, it's often being able to assess whether it's more time or more clients that you need. At the very, very beginning, when you don't have a lot of clients at the beginning, you want to spend, but have a bit more time, you want to spend that time on marketing, right? Marketing, getting on your first few clients and so on. If you don't already know how your business is really, how it looks like, what's the client journey, then that's what you're going to do. It's that experimental stage of, right, all right, I'm going to bring on new clients. This is how I onboard them. This is the client journey and fulfillment and so on. So you'll find that at that point, once you have a few more clients, then you sort of go, oh, okay, this is how I want my business to operate, right? And so you don't take your foot off the marketing pedal, but then you want to start to shift towards, and I talk about strategy, systems, and superstars. So marketing strategy becomes one of the first things. Then you need to move on to your systems, because your back end, your operations needs to be able to support how you're supporting your clients ultimately, right?
Mm.
So yeah, that's part of
Okay.
the, you went through that experience. And when we talk about systems, we look at what are the SOPs, our systems and processes that we need to put in place. We need to look at what system tools. So is it a CRM? Is it a task management tool? So these are the elements of systems, because when we have that in place, then when you add superstars, I call them superstars because that's basically your team. Your team are your superstars. Then your team know what to do to execute the systems in
So,
place.
so I think thank you for that explanation, Cheryl. What it makes me to believe is that what you're telling me, and I've experienced it myself, that there are different phases of a business, or there are different phases in the life of a business owner.
Yes,
So, based on the different phases, it looks like they would have different challenges as well. Because when you're starting out new, you don't have any clients.
yes,
Once you do start getting clients and you start servicing, probably you run into the challenge of not having enough time to service them.
absolutely.
And that's where you need some help. So, does the help also change along the way that you need? And
Uh,
is that something that you can help with as well? Like probably a
yeah,
business may need marketing upfront, but once the marketing is up and running, they have more clients now. They need someone who can help them with looking
right,
after their CRM or their backend stuff or their admin stuff.
yeah.
So the superstars that you provide and that your business actually offers in terms of growth, are they able to look after these different moving parts of the business all at the same time?
Yeah, and so this is where I talk about building your future org chart, right? Your future team. So once we identify what is the pain point, or what is the role that needs to be filled first, like you said, at the very, very beginning, you might have someone who can help you with some level of marketing and social media, video editing, and so on. But very quickly, as you start to get clients, like you said, you might want to have someone who, and that person may be able to do some level of EA tasks and so on. I'm very, very mindful that there are very, very few unicorns out there. So you can't expect someone to do marketing and EA work and also operational client care, because they're spreading themselves too thin.
Yep.
So I often will say, if you've got someone who's a creative and they do marketing, often they'll find that they actually may struggle with really detailed type of work. So if you're asking them to do research, so we're talking about different personalities, different strengths and weaknesses, right? So it's really important that you sort of go, okay, I might get a marketing assistant to begin with to help with the marketing, video editing, putting out posts, and so on and so forth. But eventually, if my calendar gets too full, I might look at getting, particularly if it's a property business, and we've trained buyers agents and assistants, for example, to help with the whole back end. So that might be an EA role. They might come and help with client care, for example, or any of the back end stuff. It might be ordering, putting clients in touch with referral partners or whatever that might be. So it's all these little tasks, all these tasks that need to be done, but the business owner doesn't need to be the person that does it all the time.
Exactly.
And the more that
Exactly.
you can leverage that and be able to identify what are the key tasks that I need to do and what are the key tasks that I can leverage someone else's knowledge and time, what will that allow me more to do, right?
And
Which is,
I think a simple formula that has worked for me, and just to add to you, Cheryl, for different people it can be different way of making decisions. For me, the simple thing that actually worked on to decide whether I should delegate a piece of work or not was trying to put a cost to my own time.
mm,
What is the cost of my own time if I do something? Is it $20 an hour, $40 an hour, $60 an hour, $100 an hour, or more? And once
yeah,
I was able to put that cost for that for my own time, then I would realize, okay, if the cost to do this work is X amount of dollars for me,
yes,
should I really be doing it when someone can do it for half of that price
yeah,
with the same
absolutely,
level of quality? As soon as I started thinking in that way, I was very clearly able to decide that these are the 10 different tasks in my business. This is marketing, this is content generation, this is reaching out to referral partners, this is reaching out to my clients, this is client management, blah, 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 blah. This is reaching out to real estate agents for sourcing properties, all those things.
yeah,
Probably
perfect,
these are the five tasks are the one which require my personal attention on a day-to-day basis, but these other 4 or 5 tasks are something which don't require my attention because they can be done by someone else with the same level of quality, but
yes,
without having me directly getting involved with that. So of course I still do my client management myself, I still talk to my clients, I still talk to the real estate agents myself, but some of the back end stuff is something that can be taken care of, isn't it?
absolutely. And you're so spot on with that, because we talk about high value and low value tasks. So in every business, there are high value tasks and sort of low value tasks. Not saying those low value tasks are any less important; they need to be done. But like I said, the high value things are like being in sales calls, being in, having that client relationship as well, particularly. And again, this all comes down to what stage you are in your business. Because ultimately, when you get to a particular stage, you might decide, actually, I might have someone who looks after my clients. And that's what specifically they do. But what's really, really helpful is to also, I often say, really imagine and understand where you are heading to as a business and the type of business that you want to build. Because a lot of business owners come and start businesses because they want to build a lifestyle business. Right? Obviously, there's the revenue side of things, but they want to live a particular lifestyle. So
Yep.
when we start off, we're like in hustle mode. We do everything and everything. And we're like, I'm in business. Yeah, I'm working 18-hour days. Oh my goodness, I feel like. And then you actually burn yourself out. But not the ultimate goal of business. The ultimate goal is to build the type of business that you want, and understanding, if that business means you live a particular sort of lifestyle and flexibility, then you've got to work backwards from that. And you go, well, and that's how you craft your future team. Because as you grow, like you said, as you get into different stages, you go, okay, well, I've got someone who is my client success manager, for example, but I also have an EA and I've got a marketing person. Actually, do I need someone else to help with some other operational aspect? If it's
Exactly.
research or so on and so forth. So
Yep.
ultimately, you can build a team as large or as small as you want, but it's getting really clear to begin with what is the type of business I want to be in, and how do I want to live out that business and that lifestyle.
Yep. And I think you mentioned a very important point over here, Cheryl, about clarity, being clear about what you want your business to look like 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. And a lot of new business owners and people who are doing business maybe for the first time, or they are doing this kind of a business for the first time, it may not be clear for them. They may not know what kind of business it may look like or what shape it would take over the course of next few years. And
Yeah.
that is where I would share my personal experience that when I started working with Growth Hub 3 years ago, and that is when the first time I had a chat with you, and we started talking about, okay, what does your business look like? Because those were the questions you were asking me. And what does your standard operating procedure looks like? And I was like, I don't have one. What is it? And that is when you said, okay, let's work on your org chart, let's work on your processes, let's work on your templates, on your timeframes. And that is what was really helpful in making me decide how my business would take shape and form moving into the future. Because
Mm,
that is when I was like, okay, now I have the processes. Now I know how to reach out to the people. Now I know how to reach out to referral partners. Now I know how to reach out to real estate agents. So I was working on those building blocks of my business, which actually allowed me to envision how will my business look like in the future. So that was one very important area where you guys did help me as well. So thank you very much for that.
no, you're welcome. And we find that we see this in business, particularly small business, right? Again, often we go from, a lot of small business owners have worked in corporates or have worked for someone else for a long time, and they have a particular skill set. They're specialists in their field in terms of execution, but then actually running a business is a whole different ball game in itself. And we go in and we're like, excellent, I'm going to be really good at this and charge people for my the value that I bring and so on and so forth. But that's sort of the first thing. But we don't actually really go, ultimately, this is what I want to create.
Yep.
Because if we don't have that goal, and this is just the basis of goal setting, if we don't have a goal, we don't have a vision, then our path is going to be sort of like, oh, and then you'll find yourself not really congruent to what you ultimately want to create, right? And
Exactly.
it's from there, then I can sort of see the strategy that we need to help you with to be able to get to that point. Again, like, I mean, we go back to what are the stages of the business. If you've got a business and we've got clients who have 50 employees or contractors in their business, their pain points with their systems and processes are going to be very different to where you are now. But the great thing is that we review this every 3 to 6 months. All right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Because everyone, you don't want to overwhelm people. You want to be able to have people take the steps that are relevant for their business at the stage they are and the challenges that they have at that time.
And that's a very important thing you mentioned, because every business is different. And every business, even if there are two businesses who are exactly the same, but they're in different stages of their growth. They're different stages of their life cycle, as we should say. I know we talk about property life cycles and property cycles,
Yeah.
and you're fond of property. I know that you're very good expertise in property yourself, but same is true with businesses as well. They have their own life cycles, they have their own phases. So you need to understand what phase you're in and what kind of nurturing it needs, what kind of expertise you're lacking, and what kind of expertise you can outsource to someone like your company and get it done at a much more, not only affordable rate, but at a much higher quality as well.
Yeah,
And I mean, I've experienced that, and uh, I can totally vouch for it. So you just don't help with the VAs, the virtual assistants, but also with the strategy side of things, which helped me a lot in shaping my business direction to begin with. So that was very helpful. Uh,
yeah,
before we wrap up, any lasting thoughts, any lasting words, any tips for people who are watching or who would be watching this recording?
yeah. I think the main thing is we often get asked the question, when is the right time to build my team?
Yep.
And I would say as early as possible, if your budget does allow it. Bring on someone as quickly as possible so that you can just start to focus on the things you are good at, on your superpower. So it's really important that you have an awareness of what is your superpower and what you want to do, and start to leverage or delegate those tasks that don't really allow you to step into your superpower. So as quickly as possible, once you understand your business and how it's structured, put in some systems and processes. Doesn't need to be perfect. Start to bring on some systems and processes, but bring on someone as quickly as you can, because that will just open up your capacity so much more.
Well,
And whether it's a virtual, I mean, really suggest with virtual assistants, because there's obviously a cost effectiveness around it, but then it also allows you to then have that virtual assistant support local team if you want to bring local team aboard as well. It just allows you to grow that much quicker and scale and create a
yep.
sustainable business model. So yeah, that's
Exactly.
probably my lasting words there.
Beautiful, beautiful. And how can someone reach out to you, Cheryl, if there are business owners who want advice around their businesses or who want to understand how they can scale up and want to discuss their thoughts and ideas with you? What is the
Yeah,
best way for people to reach out to you?
absolutely. Thank you. So the best way is you can drop into our website www.thegrowthhub.io, so not .com.au, or email me at Cheryl at thegrowthhub.io as well. So TheGrowth and HUB.io. Feel free to reach out, and just let me know where you are in your business, what the challenges you have, and generally I have a pretty good idea as to whether we are the best sort of support for you or not. So
Beautiful, beautiful.
looking
Definitely.
forward
What we'll do is that we will mention the website as well as Cheryl's email address in the comment section. So if anyone who's watching this video is more than welcome to reach out to Cheryl. If you have a business idea, if you're starting out fresh, have a
mm,
chat with Cheryl. If you're already into a business and not sure which way to go, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling alone, then
yeah,
please reach out to Cheryl and she can guide you through and you will feel much more relieved. I can vouch for that. Thank you very much, Cheryl, for your time.
thank
And
you. Fantastic.
I'll see you next week. Then thank you so much.
Take care. Bye bye. Bye
Take
everyone.
care. Bye.